seconds. Good evening and welcome to the Orange County School Board's regularly scheduled meeting this Tuesday, February 9th, 2021. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. Let me take this opportunity to remind the public that members of the board will not be engaged in outside electronic or digital communication during this evening's meeting so that we can all focus 100% of our attention on the meeting that is present in front of us. So if you're trying to reach out to us, it's best to get a hold of us before the meetings or reach out to us afterwards. We're going to begin our meeting with a moment of silence followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. And let me ask if Member Byrd would lead us in both. Member Byrd?
Sure, thank you. Please stand for a moment of silence.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Member Byrd. Here in Orange County Public Schools, we are extremely proud of a dedicated team of employees, and for over 50 years now, we have been celebrating those who have distinguished themselves from the rest of the pack, which is hard to do because we have incredible employees here in Orange County Public Schools. This year, we have had to deviate from our normal practice. For years, we did a reception, and then in 2019, we developed into what's known as the Stellar Awards. But due to COVID-19, we weren't able to celebrate in person. However, tonight we wanted to take this opportunity in person to recognize both our OCPS Teacher of the Year, Stuart Parker, OCPS Person of the Year, Lydia Folks, OCS Principal of the Year, Jennifer Bellinger, and OCS Principal of the Year, Rebecca Yedvobnik. I hope I got close. From this point forward, Assistant Principal Rebecca Yevognik is going to be Miss Y. And I thank you for that. Thank you. So as I introduce each of them, I'm going to ask them to stand as I call their names so that we can share a little bit about what makes them so exceptional. Let's begin with Stuart Parker. Mr. Parker? Mr. Parker is an AP Human Geography teacher at Winter Park. You can notice this probably from the tie, Winter Park 9th grade center. He's worked at Winter Park High his entire 19-year career, teaching pre-IB world history, IB history, and world geography, cultural geography. In his classes, he enjoys exposing his students, to a larger worldview and seeing them develop into change makers and become successful in school and in life. His students continually score above the district, state, and national average on final assessments. However, that's not his primary focus. Daily, he strives to see all of his students from every racial background, every ethnic group, leave his class as better students, better citizens, and better people. Mr. Parker, congratulations, and thank you for the difference you're making in the world, one student at a time. Next, please join me in welcoming Yi Ping, Lydia Folks, and I hope I'm pronouncing it right. Is it Folks? Oh, thank you. Ms. Folks serves as the school secretary and bookkeeper at Blankner School. With the exception of a half a semester, she's spent her entire 14 years at OCPS at the K-8 school. She is known for her servant's heart and welcoming spirit, and she strives to deliver excellent customer service every single day. Even when she doesn't have to be at the front desk, she often comes out of her office to greet students and wish them a great day. Folks credits the Blankner staff and the strong parent community with welcoming her because English was not her first language, and she knows what that feels like, and I think that probably shapes how you greet everyone who comes into your school. The most rewarding part of her job is seeing the smiles of students and staff members and knowing that if they have questions, she'll have answers. Ms. Folks, thank you for lifting the spirits of everyone you touch through your kindness, through your wonderful, caring, and compassionate attitude. Next, join me in recognizing Oak Ridge Principal Jennifer Bellinger. Principal Bellinger started her OCPS career in education more than 2 decades ago as a science teacher at Robbinswood Middle School. From her first year of teaching, she knew education was her calling, and she says that she has not regretted a single day since. A graduate of West Orange High School, she has served as dean, SAFE coordinator, assistant principal at 3 schools, including Oak Ridge, a middle school principal, and 2 middle schools, which is heavy lifting, I might add, to be a principal at middle schools and then come back to Oak Ridge High School as principal. Under her leadership, the school's grade has risen from a D to a B in just 2 years. And together with her staff, students, parents, and community, they are pioneering their way to an A. Principal Bellinger humbly acknowledges the support and collaboration she receives from the Pioneer family. At times, it may seem like the goal is unattainable, but she knows that her school community always rallies behind her vision and never gives up. Principal Bellinger, thank you for leading the way to success for your students and faculty. And next, join me in recognizing Miss Y. Miss Y currently serves as the assistant principal. I'm sorry. Miss, I was just so glad to not have to say Vobnik again and possibly get it wrong. Miss Y serves as the assistant principal at Ridgewood Park Elementary. She's the daughter of a university professor, and she began her career in Gwinnett County, Georgia, 14 years ago as an elementary school teacher. After a few years as a K-5 literacy coach, she came to OCPS as a resource teacher with professional development services in 2015. Ms. Y applied to the assistant principal pool and was appointed to Ridgewood Park in 2018. To her, being a good leader involves getting in the trenches and working alongside her teachers and her students. She believes it's her job to make sure that all of her students are provided not just in education, but an excellent education where they are cared for when they get to school and they have their basic needs met. Along those lines, after learning of students' needs for food outside of school, Ms. Y wrote a Facebook post asking for donations. The request blossomed into the Tiger Pride Pantry, which is now feeding more than 100 families on the weekends, nearly a quarter of the school's population. Ms. Y, thank you for going the extra mile in the lives of your students at Ridgewood Park. Congratulations to all 4 of our winners this year. Each day, each of you radiate and show care and compassion to our students. And though we didn't get the chance to recognize the way we would have liked to this year, throughout the year, I want you to know that all of us are extremely proud of you and the role models that you are, not just for your students, but for the faculty that works with you every day. And now let me hear from Member Felder for a few comments. Member Felder?
Well,
It's a little tricky.
okay.
You got it.
Yes. Good evening. Thank you all so much. I am a veteran teacher of 40 years, and to hear any teacher, any school employee to become the employee of the year in your discipline, that says a lot. And I am so grateful that you show the kind of dedication that's so necessary for our students, and you work well with your faculty. I have to do pardon with Miss Bellinger because she is the principal of the year from a school in my district, Oak Ridge High School. I'm just so proud of the work that she's done, and and all of you, but especially Miss Bellinger she's come away from working in middle school and teaching, and now coming back to Oak Ridge as the principal. In a time when people question what we're doing as educators in the time of a pandemic when the country is in uproar. But the thing that has not changed, that has remained constant, is education. And it's because of the people that are in this room. It has remained a constant. And I'm so grateful to be a part of such a cadre of people who are expert in their own right. So I want to say thank you. And we do appreciate your work and the love that you have for this discipline. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Member Felder. Let's hear from Member Castor-Dental, another teacher.
There we go. There we go. Thank you. I also want to congratulate all of our award recipients. It's not easy to be the one that is finally selected out of so many deserving people. You all have really met a high bar. And congratulations to Mr. Parker. I know he taught my daughter at Winter Park, and I know that he has a heart and concern for students that is always right at the center of what he does, and then is selected by his peers. He just has the respect of everyone I know, and I want to say a special congratulations to you, and thank you for all you do, all of you. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Member Castor-Dental. Member Gallo.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair. I think that Member Felder, Dr. Castor-Dental said it the best. So I would just like to express my sincere gratitude for all that you do for our students across this great district, especially during these turbulent times. You guys are phenomenal and deserve so much praise. And as it was mentioned, to be the best of the best this year in a group of so many deserving people just speaks volumes to how hard you work and how much you care about our students. A special thank you to Mr. Parker, because he is from Winter Park High, which is in my district. And I'm just so thankful for you. I'm so thankful that all of you chose OCPS to be the place that you decided to teach and reach out to children. And from the bottom of my heart, thank you.
Thank you, Member Gallo. Dr. Vasquez.
Thank you, Madam Chair. On behalf of our superintendent, I want to congratulate you. I know that she has reached out and personally congratulated each one of you. I want to add my commendations to you and thank you and the 24,000 strong employees you represent who tirelessly serve our students. Thank you for all that you do.
Thank you, Dr. Vasquez. And Member Colbert.
Thank you. So as long as we're on the bragging train, you all really are the best of the best. We could not be more proud of you in your service to our children. You're the reason that we're proud to serve OCPS, to be in the company of all of you. And I don't want to embarrass Miss Folks because she is so humble and so gracious, but she is truly a person with a servant's heart, that just quiet grace that adds to the complete culture of the school that she works in. And I just want to thank you, not only as a board member, but as a parent, for what you have added to the lives of all the children who have walked through Blankner School. So thank you, Ms. Folks.
Thank you. Okay, well, we are going to move on to some proclamations, but it's hard to move off of this subject because, as I said, we are so proud of you and the incredible change that you are making in so many students' lives and the example you're setting. So God bless you. Thank you. I know you lift my spirits, just being able to celebrate you here tonight. Let's talk about proclamations. So this evening, we are proclaiming February 17th, 2021 as National PTA Founders Day in Orange County Public Schools. We are also proclaiming February 22nd through the 26th as Orange County Public Schools Week here in Orange County Public Schools. And finally, we are proclaiming February 20th through the 27th as National FFA Week here in Orange County Public Schools. And I saved that to last because I wanted to ask Member Byrd if she would read the proclamation on behalf of the board.
I would love to. I just want to give a little background on this because I thought it was just so wonderful. I got an email from a gentleman that I met when I was campaigning the first time for the school board in early 2018, and I was standing at the Apopka Fair handing out my, information, talking to voters, and he walked up and he told me he was a retired agriculture teacher in Apopka, and he taught for many, many, many years. And him and I had the best conversation about agriculture and the importance of FFA in the schools. And he just left a little special place in my heart. Well, he emailed me a couple months ago and said, Member Bird, why are we not doing Proclamation for FFA Week? He said, we need to do that. It's so important. I said, you're absolutely right. We do. So we got this. So we got it on the agenda to have it done. So I'm thrilled that we're celebrating this tremendous organization and everything that it does for our kids, and I'm just so thrilled. I love this program. So here is our proclamation for National FFA Week. Whereas FFA provides a strong foundation for the youth of America and the future of food, fiber, and natural resources systems, and whereas FFA promotes premier leadership, personal growth, and career success among its members, and whereas FFA ensures a steady supply of young professionals to meet the growing needs in the science, business, and technology of agriculture, and whereas the FFA motto, learning to do, doing to learn, earning to live, living to serve, gives direction and purpose to students who take an active role in succeeding in FFA, and whereas FFA promotes citizenship, volunteerism, patriotism, and cooperation, and whereas FFA in Orange County Public Schools continually strives to make a positive difference in the lives of students by developing their potential for premier leadership, personal growth, and career success. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the School Board of Orange County does hereby proclaim the week of February 20th through 27, 2021, as National FFA Week.
Awesome. All right, we have a couple of guests here that want to speak to this issue. Let's hear first from Danny Gardner. Mr. Gardner, thank you for being here with us.
Thank you, Madam Chair. School board members, Superintendent Dr. Jenkins, and Deputy Superintendent Dr. Vasquez. National FFA Week is a time for FFA members to raise awareness about the role FFA plays in the development of agriculture's future leaders and the importance of agriculture education. National FFA Week always runs Saturday to Saturday and encompasses February 22nd, George Washington's birthday, to commemorate his dedication and involvement in agriculture. The National FFA organization was chartered in 1928 and has grown in size to over 8,700 local FFA chapters and over 760,000 active FFA members nationwide. On behalf of the 28 FFA chapters and OCPS, I say a sincere thank you for recognizing and honoring National FFA Week with this proclamation. I have some special guests here I would like to recognize. And I'm going to start with my boss.
Always a
in the back.
good thing to do.
I know you know her, but Miss Melanie Stefanowicz, Associate Superintendent for CTE, and thank her for all of her leadership, guidance, and support. And I'd also like to recognize our county-level FFA officers, starting with our president. I'd ask them to stand and please remain standing. Our county president, Ms. Jessica Stroop from West Orange High School. Is this not on?
It is
Oh,
on.
okay, okay.
Yeah.
Our vice president, Maisel Amaro from Colonial High School. Our county secretary, Isabella Skramonson from Windermere High School. Treasurer, Sienna Gonzalez from Colonial High School. Reporter, Jamie LePage from Colonial High School. Sentinel, Melanie Smith from Windermere High School. And we have one of our two county that's serving as county advisors. We have Mr. Travis Eisendraut, who's also the advisor at Ocoee High School, but serves in the county capacity for advisor as well. Then we have with us our district president, Hendricks Paterson from Windermere High School. We're also very fortunate to have our state FFA vice president serving on the state in the state capacity, Jonathan Stevens, who is a graduate from Windermere High School. And now I'd like to introduce our federation, our county president, Ms. Jessica Stroop, to say a few words.
Wonderful.
Hello, I'm Jessica Stroop, and I'm from the West Orange FFA chapter, and this year I get to represent Orange County Federation as being their president. First off, I do want to say thank you for having FFA be heard at the district meeting. That's such a huge accomplishment. And as Federation president, we have been implementing different activities for students and members to be a part of, despite the year being COVID. We have had the highest attendance out of all years at these events through safe options such as virtual and social distancing, which is a huge accomplishment despite how the year has gone for us. And then personally, for FFA has given me so many opportunities. I'm a senior this year and I will be graduating and heading off, and I have been accepted to so many places for agriculture and direct scholarships from FFA. So this is such an amazing opportunity for the FFA to be heard at the district meeting, which will allow more students to be a part of it and recognized through the national level and be put off into the agriculture industry and allow them to succeed in those ways. So thank you.
Thank you.
So I guess we can feel comfortable that the future's in good hands. We've got some outstanding young leaders here that are going to help continue and succeed, and we're so excited to see their futures. And I would just like to close with saying, once again, we sincerely thank you for honoring us with this proclamation and for all of your support for agriculture education and FFA. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yes, the future is in good hands, and I tell you what, we are well represented in the state. This is awesome. Member Gallo.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Congratulations. We are well represented, and these are truly some amazing leaders that will take us into the next era. I want to talk about two things. Number one, the PTA proclamation, because I couldn't sit up here as a lifelong PTA member and not talk about the advocacy and the work that the PTA does on a continual basis. You know, we were founded in the 1800s by two moms that were trying to right the wrongs of child labor acts. And since then, we've taken up so many causes, from those Labor Act laws to hot lunches, to seat belts on school buses, to not allowing children in the back of pickup trucks. And I could go on and on and on. But this really was a huge advocacy association built on trying to do what's right on children. So to have them recognized here tonight and to take a look at the good work that they've done for over 100 years means a lot, because we have tireless parents, moms and dads out there that give of their time and their talent and their treasure on a daily basis at all of our schools across Orange County. And they do it because they love kids and they believe in Orange County Public Schools. So I want to say thank you to all of you that are PTA members and for all that you do for us on a daily basis. We cannot lead our students to success without you and without parents, so you're appreciated. The FFA, I just want to say, every time that I'm around the students, you guys amaze me daily. We used to have PTA meetings at East River High School, and our FFA teacher at the time, who I adore, would say, "Hey, can we bring our FFA kids in? We want you to listen to their parliamentary procedures. They have to practice. Can they? I know that PTA runs under parliamentary procedures. Can they come and practice?" And they would come, and we would just sit and they would be phenomenal. But we would just sit and look at each other and realize how poorly we handled our meetings and how bad we were at parliamentary procedures. And we thought, no, maybe we need to go practice in front of them. But anyways, kudos to you. Congratulations on the proclamation, and I'm just so proud of you. Thanks.
Thank you, Member Gallo. And I also wanted to, before we close out, I wanted to thank you, Member Byrd, for bringing this proclamation to the board. We should definitely have been doing this all along, but it wouldn't be happening if it wasn't for your leadership. Thank you. Okay, we have. Do we have any appointments to recognize? I'm sorry. Who did I miss? Member Gould, Vice Chair Gould, please.
I just also wanted to commend the students that are here. They have invested in themselves, in their school, and certainly in what they're going to do in their future. Their leadership excels here. I can't wait to see what you all do going forward and where you'll be, because I know so many of our past FFA members have gone on not only to school but into the workforce and become leaders, and it's exceptional. So you should not only cherish this time but relish what you're learning, because you'll use these skills every single day of your career. Congratulations.
Thank you, Vice Chair. Member Lopez.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I also want to congratulate the FFA students. It's a great program, and it is give them a lot of opportunities. Every single time I go to Colonial High School, I can see the leadership and the organization, how disciplined, how good they look, how organized. So it's very impressive. But I also want to take this opportunity to congratulate Colonial High School Agri-Science program, because they just received the Model of Excellence Award under the National Future Farmers of America. So it's a great recognition, and Ms. Payov is doing a great job. So Ms. Payov is a former Teacher of the Year at Colonial High School. She's doing great, and I also want to congratulate her. I know she's not here, but I know we have students from Colonial High School, so say hi to her, and I am very proud of you. It's great to be a Grenadier.
Thank you. Member Byrd, you want to close us out?
Sure, thank you. I just wanted to say a thank you to our district, to our staff, to the superintendent, to our CTE department for really embracing the agriculture programs in all of our high schools, and realizing the importance of this industry that is so vital to our future, to all of our future, creating future farmers. And it's not just, and I mean, it's just the food insecurity that many Americans face. And, we have so many bigger social issues that are tied to our agriculture and our society. So I think the fact that we have agriculture programs in all of our high schools and in many of our middle schools, and we're always looking to expand it even more, it's just phenomenal. And I think I just wanted to say thank you to the district for that. And then, to you guys, to these kids that are in FFA, you really are exceptional. The things that these kids learn, and you can't help but be exceptional when you are giving of yourself to help either animals, taking care of other animals, or growing plants, and you have to take care of something else besides yourself. And I think that that's what sets sometimes these FFA kids apart, is that they are very selfless. They show up to school early to take care of their animals, and they take pride in their work, and it's just, they're such phenomenal kids, such leaders, and you're just fantastic. I love this program. I am hopeful that we can continue to keep growing it and more kids will get involved. And I have to say, my daughter just got involved this year at her middle school, and her what was the name of it? Horticulture, team just got first place in the district for middle school for their last competition. So she has found a new passion and loves it, and is applied to the magnet at Wekiva High School for the agri-science magnet. So we're thrilled, and I just think it's such a great program. So kudos to you guys. Thank you for all that you do. Thank you to all of our fantastic agriculture teachers out there, because you are really amazing. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Byrd. All right, we've got our eyes on you. We're going to be watching you all. We want to see what you're going to do with your life and with the world, but I know we can expect great things. We do not have any administrators that are being appointed, so this is the perfect opportunity for everyone that we've recognized to be able to leave a little early, unless you want to stay with us for the rest of the evening. We love your company, but I suspect you'd rather be with your family. So, adios. Bye-bye. Thank you all. I never know how many people might tune in to our YouTube channel, But I think if we wanted to do something to lift people's spirits, it would be just to send them the beginning of every one of our meetings, because it always lifts my spirit to see these incredible students, these incredible faculty, just really amazing. And very reassuring about the future. Yeah, right? Okay. Dr. Vasquez, are there any changes to the consent agenda?
No, Madam Chair,
Any
there are
changes
not.
to the rest of the agenda?
No, there's not.
Okay, so before we take action on the consent agenda, we do have a member of the public that is calling in, Andrew Schwartz. Let me take that call at this time.
Thank you very much for, hello?
Yes, you're recognized. I'm sorry, Mr. Schwartz.
Hi, thank you. First, before we begin, I'd like to thank the board for letting me speak on this important matter. And specifically, I'm talking about consent agenda item number 11, specifically RFP 200293, which is for technology devices and services. And with that, I'll begin.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Did you give your name and address? I'm sorry. Did we get your address just for the record?
Sure.
Thank you.
My name is Andrew Schwartz. That's SCHWARTZ. And the address is Schutz and Bowen, 200 East Broward Boulevard, Suite 2100, Fort Lauderdale, Florida, 33301.
Thank you, Mr. Schwartz.
You're welcome. Please let me know when you're ready for
We're
it.
ready. You have 3 minutes. And again, thank you for calling.
Thank you. Once again, I'm Andrew Schwartz from Schutz and Bowen, and I'm speaking today on behalf of SHI International Corps, which submitted a proposal in response to RFP number 2008293 for technology devices and services, and SHI International was ranked third. We are asking the board to please cancel the RFP and conduct a new procurement because the RFP itself is fatally flawed. Simply put, because it is impossible to determine what the recommended awardee, United Data's, price is, and it's also impossible to determine what anyone else's price is. Now, staff, we had filed a notice of intent to protest, and staff, for purposes of the protest bond, advised us that they estimated the value of United Data's contract was $100 million. But really, there's no way, the staff doesn't have any real idea what United Data's overall price is, or really what anyone else's overall price is. And the reason for that, and the documents staff provided to us in response to our records request, which we've provided to you, show that staff is really just guessing because it's spent about $25 million a year in the past. That's what it'll spend in the future, no matter who it gives the contract to. And the reason we reached this state, unfortunately, is because the RFP instructs offers to provide unit prices for individual laptops and tablets, but it doesn't provide any estimated unit quantities. And the reason you need unit quantities is because you're not going to purchase the same amount of each device that's being priced out. And so really just the unit prices themselves can't be used to figure out what anyone's overall price is. And since the RFP didn't provide estimated unit quantities or instruct bidders to provide their own estimated unit quantities, there's really no way to know what anyone's overall price is. And so for all staff knows, United Data could be $50 million more than the next lowest person, which could very well be SHI. There's really no way to know. And the law is quite clear here that regardless of whether this is something that should have been raised in a spec challenge, the board has substantial discretion to correct procurement errors that may have prevented it from obtaining best value when procuring goods and services. And really here, all we're doing is we're just going to ask the board to please remember the goal here isn't to just get away with something because you can. but really your goal is when you're spending tens of millions of public dollars to do the best possible job procuring these laptops and tablets. And there's just no bigger error that can be committed than spending, than awarding an estimated $100 million contract when really you have no way of knowing what anyone's price is.
Mr.
And so
Schwartz?
SHI
Go
is
ahead.
asking.
You
yes,
need to wrap it up, Mr. Schwartz.
I'll wrap up. SHI is asking the board to please reject all and conduct a rebid with unit prices. And we'd like to thank the board for the time today, and we'd be glad to answer any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Schwartz. All right, we have a consent agenda in front of us. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda? Motion by Vice Chair Gould. Is there a second? Second by Member Colbert. All in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Very briefly, for the benefit of the public, I do want to just clarify a couple of things. We do have a very detailed process of procuring goods and services. Part of that starts with a process whereby prospective bidders and vendors participate in a pre-application process where concerns and questions about the bid materials could be raised at that time. Secondly, if any bidder or vendor feels that they are that there's something wrong in the process, there is a protest process and there is a deadline for that. And in this case, this applicant did not follow through with the protest. And so I don't want anybody to be confused that this board does not take this seriously or, as Mr. Schwartz said, is trying to get away with something. I personally find that extremely offensive. What we are trying to do is adhere to a process that is well documented, that gives everyone who seeks to do business with Orange County Public Schools a fair and equal playing field. That's our goal, that's our intent, and there's a process by which this can be challenged. Let's move on then, Dr. Vasquez, to, we have no non-consent. I think we're ready for your report. It's not you. There you go.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to take a few minutes to bring the board up to date on where we are this year with our efforts to not only educate our students, but deal with the learning loss that has taken place. Before you is a visual that is quite familiar. Hard to believe that it's been almost an entire year that we have been educating our students through the middle of a pandemic. We have talked before about our restructure, our recovery, and our rebuild, and we are now looking at how we will deal with the learning loss. When we've looked at our most recent data and compared it to data from the first semester, we acknowledge that while our students have made progress from the beginning of the school year, there has definitely been regression from last year. Our team has put together an aggressive recovery plan that has begun and will continue through the summer of next year. Before you is our MTSS pyramid that actually addresses how we deal with students that may be struggling. All students receive Tier 1 instruction, which is at the bottom of the pyramid. That is standards-based instruction. When we identify students that are struggling, that have not mastered those concepts, we move to Tier 2, which provides interventions. Typically, those interventions are done in small groups for periods of time. There is monitoring of progress through various formative assessments. Typically, the majority of those students with that additional instruction gain the knowledge necessary to then continue with Tier 1 instruction. We do, however, have some students that need that additional intervention, that Tier 3 that is intensified. It is sometimes done in much smaller groups, one-to-one, for longer periods of time. This year, what we are seeing is that we have significantly more students that are in need of both Tier 2 and Tier 3 instruction. I want to say thank you to Dr. Schuler and her team, who have done an incredible job looking at not only the current interventions that we have in place, but additional opportunities for children to get additional instruction and lessen the learning loss. At the chart, you will see some various opportunities that have been afforded to our students. We were very grateful to receive GEARS and CARES dollars that have allowed us to provide additional tutoring and face-to-face instruction both at the elementary and secondary level. Elementary will go through March 31st, and our secondary tutoring will go through April 30th. And those are timelines that have been set by the federal government when those dollars need to be spent. We have also been able to tap into our Title I dollars to focus on additional support in our Title I schools in the areas of reading and math. All schools submit a plan that is reviewed both by the area superintendent and the chief academic officer to make sure that it's aligned with resources and best practices that the district supports. Something new that we have begun is virtual tutoring. We have tapped into some of our teachers that are currently on leave and are looking to have them perform virtual tutoring to our students who are launch ed. While we see regression in learning both face-to-face and launch ed students, we do see a greater loss of learning for those students that are launch ed. And so this gives the opportunity for us to provide virtual tutoring at the elementary level that will typically follow the same cycle that we've had after school on Saturday. At the middle school level, we're looking at the beginning of the day, afternoon, and on Saturday as well. The high school has a different flavor. We're looking to provide tutoring on a more on-demand basis and extend those into the evening hours and see if we have better participation from our high school students. We obviously will monitor the progress that our students are making, and if we receive positive outcomes, then we will look to incorporate that model into other levels and for the next academic school year. Another aspect of what we're going to do is summer school. Our summer school in the past typically spans the month of June. This coming year, we are looking to have summer school extend through the month of July. We are looking to have 2 sessions, one session in June, one session in July. Some students will only participate in the month of June. We have others that will be asked to participate in both June and July. We're also providing some flexibility for teachers as far as teaching. Some of them may choose to teach the entire summer. Some may want some time off, so they will be able to choose if they would like to teach the month of June or the month of July. We're also looking at some co-teaching possibilities. We understand that some of teachers may have childcare issues or may not want to work 5 days a week. So having a co-teaching model where they alternate maybe 2 days and 3 days may give us a larger pool of teachers that will work during the summer. You may recall that last year, while we spread the net wide to offer summer school to over 500 students, we needed to pull it back because we did not have enough personnel that could teach over the summer. So we are hoping that the flexibility in time, as well as Co-teaching will allow us not only to meet the demands of our students where they get that additional learning time, but also give an opportunity to our teachers to teach. The last thing I want to briefly discuss is parent engagement and family support. We have always known that we need to work collaboratively with our families in order to really have success in our schools. The pandemic has taught us that that is so much more important at this time than ever before, especially for our families who are teaching their children at home through Launch Ed. And so we have various engagement opportunities and support for them, and I want to just briefly go over some of them. We have our digital learning website that has tips and information and resources for all families that can be accessed on our website. We also post tech tip announcements in Canvas and on Launchpad K through 12. Parents receive a Connect Orange email and they're able to access that information. We also have a private Facebook group for our families of students who are Launch Ed. It allows them the opportunity to connect with staff and other families, have conversations, ask questions, and share best practices. We also have tech tours. Some are live and some are recorded. They're made available to our families so they can understand how to navigate our digital platforms. We have also produced a day in the life videos that walks parents what it is to have a day in the life of a Launch Ed student, as well as face-to-face. That was very helpful, especially towards the beginning of the year. And now as parents transition from Launch Ed to face-to-face, so they could get a feel for what those days look like. We also have our parent engagement liaisons at all of our Title I schools. Those are individuals that have been specifically tapped to work with our families so they are connected or available of the resources that are available at the school and in our community. We also have a lot of mental health services that are available to our families. Those can be tapped into at the school level by reaching out to either the guidance counselor or the SAFE coordinator. Every one of our elementary schools has a full-time guidance counselor. Every secondary school has a SAFE coordinator. Those resources can also be found on our website. And then we have a couple of initiatives that are coming soon. We have partnered with our Orange County Council of PTA to be able to help provide information and support to our families through toolkits, and those will be available towards the end of February. We are also looking to have virtual K-8 family nights beginning in March. We will have a technology onboarding video in April that will be provided to all parents registering for school, so they have information about what our one-on-one initiative is, the various tools and resources available to them. And lastly, we have started a targeted phone outreach. As you know, we have sent letters to all of our families of students who are struggling and are Launch Ed, and have tried to make the argument to the benefits of returning to face-to-face learning. We do understand that there are some families that is just not an option for safety reasons. And so we are working with our PELs and our parent contacts at our non-Title I schools to be able to start reaching out to those specific families and seeing how we can provide better support so that their child is able to progress at a quicker fashion, and that we are able to make them aware of all of the opportunities, including the virtual tutoring that's available to them. So again, I want to thank Dr. Schuler and her team. It's definitely been a long journey. We've learned a lot along the way. The pandemic has certainly provided us an opportunity to innovate, to rethink how we teach. I'm confident that some of the practices that we have put into place, we will be able to continue, that will allow our parents more choice, more individualized learning for our students, and more professional development opportunities for our teachers. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Vasquez. I had pushed my button before I knew I would be sitting in for the chair for a minute. I know that she just stepped back with Member Felder. This is phenomenal, and thank you so much for having the foresight and also helping to find even more funds to supplement these items. I'm going to switch chairs so the chair can come back to her own chair, and I'll start on mine so she can operate the. I just had a couple of questions as we move forward. We know this is not going to be a short-term project. We've got almost a year of learning interruption. The very beginning of COVID, just to remind people, was a dramatic interruption where we had almost complete shutdown. We did have complete shutdown. And we had to bring up a launched ed system and all of those things. So we have kids that are very, very far behind. I think there's a couple of things that we've touched on in other meetings that I'd like you to revisit. One is for kids that do not do well with iReady, what alternative interventions are available? Because I know some do super well with it and others don't do as well. And I know we have to be able to meet kids where they are. The second thing that I'd like to know about is how much of this gap is caused by the shutdown, I don't know if we really know this yet, by the shutdown versus having to transition to launch ed. Because we had so many technical issues. Some houses, there were native learners and people who had computers. Some had none of that at home, but now have adapted a little bit better. I'd love to know that at some point if you can't tell me now. And then on the virtual tutoring, I think tapping into the resources that cannot be on campus obviously is brilliant. But how are we using our faith partners, our after-school programs that have a really good resource of people that meet our qualifications, that have been working with our standards already in those programs? How can we incorporate them in and activate them even more aggressively?
I'll start with your first question as far as iReady. We have a published list of resources, intervention resources that schools are able to use. They are further divided by need. So for example, if there's a child that is struggling with phonemic awareness, there are specific resources that teachers can use for reteaching purposes. Our curriculum resource materials also have links and additional resources that can be used for interventions. iReady has been a tool that we have used. One of the reasons why it was so appealing was that it provided diagnostic information for us. We could also compare growth from beginning, middle to end of the year. It also had a teacher toolkit that provided a plethora of resources that our teachers could use for small group instruction. However, we recognize that that tool was not a one-size-fits-all, and that's why there are other resources that are available for students to be able to use. I believe we sent out a memo in the deputy's newsletter recently to our principals so that they could also share that with their teachers. As far as the gap, we currently do not know how much of it was due to the shutdown versus those that are launch ed. To be perfectly honest, I don't know if we will ever know that information. We do know that students have shown growth from the beginning of the year to the middle of the year. And, you know, that really is due to the tremendous work that our teachers are doing to provide instruction in an environment that was unknown to us until August. And so I commend them for all that they are doing to bridge the gap, narrow the gap students are experiencing. I can tell you that the data that we have from Launch Ed does indicate that in some grade levels they are performing lower than those that are face-to-face. But that's only one tool that we are using to get a district-wide picture. And as far as the tutors that we have through after-school care programs and through faith-based organizations, we will be able to tap into them virtually. At this point, we have not made a decision to bring in other individuals into the school because of safety reasons, but we will be able to start tapping into them. Many of our schools have already had virtual tutors working with their students. Some have met with success. Some wish they had seen more success. Our plan that we put forward through the work of our executive area directors is a bit more structured than what other schools were using, so it's going to allow more intensive support through that virtual tutoring.
Member Castrodeno.
Did I turn it on this time? Okay, good. Great presentation. Thank you so much. You've answered so many questions. So Dr. Schuler, Dr. Vasquez, thank you for all your work putting those resources together. I have a couple questions about the summer school. How will students be selected or invited? And I mean, in the past, that's usually determined by test scores or grades, but will parents be allowed to recommend their kids come even if they're not on that recommended list by the school? Will all of the summer school courses be in person? And will paras be able to assist in the summer school settings?
Our list of students that will be able to qualify for summer school is quite long, quite lengthy. In the past, we have limited it to students that were generally recovering courses at the secondary level because they did not pass. And at the elementary level, we looked at third graders who did not meet the requirements for promotion. And in our Title I schools, we targeted K1 and 2. So this year we are expanding that K-12. So at the elementary level, we will have summer school K through 5. And at the secondary level, we will tap into not only those students that did not pass, in other words, for course or credit recovery, but we will also tap those students that struggled and may have still passed the class. We definitely will take parent input, and the data that we have is relying heavily on teacher grades, teachers' formative assessments. iReady will just be one small measure, and quite frankly, thank goodness, because there's quite a large percentage of students that fall below grade level just using that one tool. Currently, and we're waiting for guidelines on the additional CARES dollars that we have received, we suspect that there are going to be limitations that it be face-to-face. And so if we are allowed to provide virtual summer school, we will definitely do so. But if we are tied to face-to-face, then that is what we will have to do. We need to remember that a lot of the students may be in launch ed, and that's part of the reason why they are not doing as well, because they don't have that face-to-face interaction. We're hoping that during the summer, because there will be fewer students in school, we'll be able to space them out more, that we will have more of those parents that will feel more comfortable and safe bringing their children back. I do have to say that we must have the teachers that are willing to teach in order for us to be able to provide summer school to the students. So that's why we thought giving them the choice to work all summer, 1 month, or co-teach gives them more flexibility and will more than likely want to work for the summer. Paras, we will look to see how we use our paras. Definitely those in our ESY, our summer school for ESE students, they will be there. They're part of the program, but that will be another resource that we look to tap. We will look to also provide additional training to our paras so that the work that they do will primarily be with small groups and targeted.
I have one follow-up. How will teachers be compensated? Do they get a certain amount of pay? Is it at $30 an hour or
Daily rate of pay for summer school.
daily rate of pay that the teacher normally gets, or everyone gets the same daily rate of pay?
No, it's their daily rate
Their
of pay.
daily rate of pay.
The tutoring is where we have varying rates. It's not their daily rate of pay, but summer school has always been their daily rate of pay.
All right, thank you.
All right, Member Byrd, you're recognized.
Thank you. I also want to say fantastic presentation. Thank you. I think the thoroughness of this report that we have in front of us in and our meetings that we've had is just amazing. I thank you so much for all the hard work. I just had a couple questions about the face-to-face instructional support that you had on the presentation for the gears and the cares in the Title I. How does that tutoring or that support look? Do they get that? I heard you say something about evening hours for high school, but for the younger kids, do they get that? Do they get pulled out of their regular classroom for one-on-one, or is that after school hours or during school, or how does that look?
So it varies.
Okay.
This was originally dollars that we received earlier in the summer, and we were required to do 80 hours of face-to-face instruction. And there was confusion as to what those guidelines were. Did you just have to provide the 80 hours, and if children didn't attend, you were held harmless? So the state came back afterwards and gave clarification, and so many districts could not meet the 80 hours of instructional support, the tutoring. And so they came back and extended the time period. And so schools are able to use a combination of time to meet those 80 hours. So they could have they could have after school, before school. They could have it on Saturday, so that they are getting that additional support. At the secondary level, it's 50 hours because those dollars came later. And the same thing, they're able to use it. Our spring break camp would also count for this additional time. And so we have several schools that are providing spring break camp. Some are providing it a couple of days a week. Others are providing it 4 days a week, 5 days a week. All of that counts towards the 80 and 50 hours of instruction.
Okay. Can
That's it, Member Burke?
I just had another follow-up to that. As far as for summer school, and I know that there's a concern about instructors, they have to be certified Orange County teachers, or could we look at maybe our university students, UCF students, to do that?
We will begin the process of, well, we have already begun the process of identifying those students that we believe will benefit from summer school, and it's tiered, right? So our most fragile students we would tap them, first, and then we would move down. Once we know the approximate numbers, and schools are going to start getting input from teachers who may want to take advantage of working over the summer, and then we will have a better idea of what our numbers are. We certainly are looking at creative ways to provide additional support. We have a great relationship with our university partners, and we work with Dr. Williams in getting our interns to also provide that support. As I said, we'll look at paras. At that point, we may also be able to look at individuals outside of OCPS that may be eligible. We just need more guidelines as to how those dollars can be used.
And then just one last thing. I'm thinking about, we've talked a lot about how difficult this whole year has been for our students and our teachers, and we talk a lot about mental health, and you touched on it a little bit. I'm just wondering if, are we considering like the emotional or the emotional toll that all of this might have on those students that are in those higher tiers that are having to get all this extra help and extra tutoring. And I'm thinking specifically for our very young students, because they don't really understand, we know why this is important. And I think our older kids, they could kind of know why all of it's important, but our younger kids don't understand why they have to do more than everybody else, or they are getting after school, or they have to go on Saturday, or that now with summer school especially. I think that's going to be really hard for a lot of kids, even though we know it's good for them. I'm just wondering what are we considering, the emotional toll that this all might take on especially our younger students.
So we have shared with our schools a number of resources that help support social emotional learning. We know that is very important, not only during this pandemic, but the board saw its importance to make it separate in our strategic plan. And so we continue to stress the importance of not only the academic support, but the social emotional support. We are going to look to provide our counselors, our social workers, SAFE coordinators opportunities to also work in the summer, so that they are able to provide that emotional support. We are also working, we're not ready to bring it to the board yet, but we are also working on what next school year will look like. There are a lot of unknowns. We have certainly learned a lot of lessons and can see where some of the things that we have done this year could provide choice and benefit students. But we also know that SEL will play a huge role for reentry, especially for children who have been out of school since March of last year and then coming back in August. And so that's playing a big part of our planning and how we will weave that not only through the curriculum, but through the day, and make it something that is much more at the forefront. I do think that this year we've done a tremendous job educating our community, our teachers, our staff as to signs to look for social emotional distress. We've put out resources, and we will continue to do that. We are very, very hopeful that with the vaccines and the other safety measures that we have put in place at schools, that in the fall we will have more of our students returning, and we'll be able to address both their academic and social emotional needs.
Member Lopez.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you for the presentation. I would like to know about the structure of the tutoring, but based on the English language learners and the ESC students.
We know that our most fragile students are going to need the most care. Those will be the students that we tap for participation in both June and July for summer school. We are working in collaboration with our curriculum and instruction team. So Josie Medina, who oversees our second language learning, Ian Gesundheit with ESC, they have been working now for the past few months on the integration of curriculum interventions and supports for our students. And those will be incorporated into our curriculum resource material so that it's more seamless. It's not seen as their ESC and this is what they're getting. We're going to also provide training over the summer and offer that not only to our ESC teachers, but to regular ed teachers that teach students who have disabilities so that they have a greater understanding of strategies that they can use in the classroom to better support their learning. We are also revisiting the models currently in place to support specifically our students who have specific learning disabilities. We're looking at the data, looking at class ratios, and determining whether there is a better model to support their acquisition of knowledge. We will continue with the summer supports that we've also had for both our ELL students and our ESC students in the summer. Some of those Jumpstart camps that are offered, some of the pre-teaching activities. We're not going to take anything away. We are adding to the plate.
Thank you.
All right, any further questions or comments from board members? All right. Thank you, Dr. Vasquez. I apologize I had to step away for a few minutes, but I will be watching your presentation tomorrow because I know it is worthwhile, and I certainly heard that from all the board members. Ms. Enval, do you have a report for the board?
I just have a small announcement. It is that time again. We need appointees for the 2021 Value Adjustment Board. And we also need to designate one alternative school board member and one alternative citizen member. If you recall, in 2020, the board appointment was Karen Castrodental, and our citizen appointment was Mr. Sean Murphy, and our alternate members was Linda Cobert, and citizen was Jim Daniels. And so I want you to be thinking about if you would like to serve again this year, and we'll bring it back at probably the next school board meeting. And in the meantime, our office is reaching out to both Mr. Murphy and Mr. Daniels to see if they would like to continue to serve. We do not know their circumstances, so we'll give you an update then, but I just wanted to put that on your radar. And other than that,
Thank
I'm
you.
done.
All right, thank you. Any committee reports I should have asked during pre-agenda? Seeing none and no announcements from board members, the meeting is, I'm sorry, Member Castrodental and then Vice Chair.
Very eager.
Yes.
Thank you. I just wanted to make a few comments since I was not able to attend the last work session where we dealt with the Baker Act. And I just wanted to share some quick thoughts and just add to kind of expand on what Ian Silgestrom
Yes.
mentioned before the meeting, I am also very pleased with the work that the staff has done with the policy for JIC and Baker Acts. Ms. Cowens, Chief Holmes, and the numerous people who were involved in working on that policy language. The suicide screening, the mobile crisis units, the notification and engagement of parents early in the process is great. The volunteer employee to kind of escort is wonderful. And notifying the admin and mental health designee before law enforcement, I think, is key. And I have a couple other thoughts I just want to throw out there, because I also appreciate that they are listening to the board discussions and really taking that to heart in what they're implementing. When a decision to Baker Act a child is made, I just want for everyone to remember to maintain the dignity and privacy of the child, so that if they were to take and transport a student, to avoid doing it during dismissal time, to avoid times, or doorways that are going to be easily seen, so that, that is a discreet and confidential process. And also some other things are I didn't see in the language here, to check with the school nurse in the process, because sometimes a student might have medication that they're taking that could help in that situation. So I don't want to withhold medication from someone. I think that's important as well. And also, this is probably in the procedures, not so much the policy, but to provide an explanation of what is happening and what to expect to the child. Sometimes I don't think that that's always done, and I just want to do as much as we can to avoid traumatizing. I know we all do, but they're just little things that if you don't know about it or think about it, you just don't act on them. So little things like that, I think, can make a big difference for our students. That's all I wanted to share. Thank you.
Excellent. Excellent points. I mean, just starting with why with our students is important. And, I think your point about explaining to them what's going to happen, I think explaining to them why this action is being taken is a key place to start. So, and you're right, we'd like to think that's going to happen automatically, but it probably needs to be spelled out, because in the moment that may not be what happens. So, Member Gould, Vice Chair Gould, and then Member Lopez.
Thank you. Just a quick shout out. It was very exciting to see the contract for electric buses on the agenda and having that get piloted. I'm very excited about seeing the impacts of that, and hopefully some of our students will even create new technology that we'll be using in the future, things like that. I did want to talk about the EKG. I would like us to maybe consider preempting the legislation and look at making that part of at least sports physicals, but I think back to school physicals in general, because it's not just kids in sports that are at risk of this. It is a best practice out there to do that as part of not all pediatricians do it. It's usually the hospitals when they get involved in the sports physicals and things. But we are just seeing more and more students, especially with the increasing heats and the changes in environment, and that seem to be at risk for these things. And it's something that can be caught with EKGs. So I would ask that the staff maybe do a little research and see if it is something we could do. I know there was some concern about liability, but I don't see that as an issue. I think there's ways, through permissions to be able to just make it part of the practice. I don't know if it'll pass in the legislation or not, but I do think it's important. I'm pretty sure we already have defibrillators at every single site, but it's been a few years since I've checked in on that. So that's something else that I would like the board to know about, because not just in our stadiums, but in multiple sites. I think they were in the cafeterias and in the gyms areas, but we probably need to make sure they're near auditoriums and such too, because those devices are a miracle for many people. It's so common, sadly, used now. We don't even hear about it when it's always used anymore, because it's there and it's a go-to component. Something that ties back to your report, Dr. Vasquez, in almost going in another way, and I've had this conversation with the superintendent, but I wanted to share my thoughts with the board, and as this data is gathered and you bring it back to us, have a more robust conversation about it, is there are advantages to some of the practices we have put into place for with Launched Ed and through COVID. Obviously, we need to remediate any kids that aren't doing well, but there are many kids that are doing well. And on my side of town, growth is not slowing. And I don't think we're going to see that in Orange County or the Metro Orlando area. So there's a lot of tools that I think can help kids go at their own pace, but also may help us rethink how we utilize our buildings a little bit and give us some flexibility, so maybe we need less portables out there. Maybe we can look at this in other ways, especially with not knowing yet what the budget dollars will really be. We already know half-penny sales tax has been dramatically impacted, and when we see the facilities budget, I think it's going to be challenging. So how do we look at some of those advantages? Again, that one's probably not for tonight because we don't have enough data, but those are the things that are on my mind that I wanted the board to hear about.
Thank you. Member Lopez.
I would like to talk to the president of the OESPA, Ron, that I know he's still here, and I want to make sure that he understands that we care about the classified employees. For me, the classified employees are very important. My sister is a monitor. I also had conference calls with janitors as well, and conversation with bus drivers. So if you want to talk to me, or any classified employee want to have a conversation with me, I'm always open to talk to you. You are very important to us.
Thank you, Member Lopez. Member Gallo.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to kind of circle back to the CPR and the need to have that in our schools and the EKG. I had actually met with, so the sponsor of the bill is from Osceola County. It's Representative Hawks, I think that's his name. And they partner with I'm trying to look at because I received an email on it. They partner with somebody that was kind of founded over in Brevard County, and they're able to do the EKGs for around $20, which is very reasonable. And for those students who can't afford the $20, they're partnering with the Magic Foundation in order to pay for those EKGs. So as Member Gould mentioned earlier, I'd be very interested in the board exploring that initiative to see what we could do, to see if there's a way that we can offset the cost for those students that can't afford to do it. But I do think that it's very important that moving forward, we look at CPR and EKGs and whatnot for our students, especially in high school and middle schools where they're playing, increasingly active, high-impact sports.
Absolutely. All right. Very good. Any other comments from board members? Okay. I think staff, Deputy Superintendent, got your work cut out for you. But I think the whole board obviously understands the need to have the best safety protocols that we can put in place. So you'll report back to us with those, and I'd be very interested in seeing on the EKGs how often do those need to be done. I don't know if that's something that's an annual thing or less than an annual thing, but you'll report back to us. Yeah, annual? It's annual? Okay. Okay. Okay, if there's nothing further, this meeting is now adjourned.